I've just got myself a new Naturehike Mongar 2 ultralight backpacking tent. So today I'm going to do a quick unboxing, setup and a quick first impressions review. Right, let's get this thing open and see what we've got in here. So we've got the tent itself. There's nothing else in there, bit of paperwork. That's it. So this is the first time this is actually being opened, as you can see. So one of the things they do with this Naturehike tent, they supply a separate ground sheet if you want. I think that's for extra protection, or it gives you the option to take this probably as an ultralight kit on its own, just like that, with a very basic ground sheet. All right. Now the first thing I want to do is check the weight, because they give quoted weights. I can't remember what it was, but let's give you a realistic weight of what this actually weighs like this. We've got 1.86 kilos there. All right, so the weight, including the ground sheet, if you like, the mat, as they call it, 1.885 kilos. Right, one thing I notice a lot of other reviews don't tend to do with tent reviews, one thing that's quite important to me is the pack down size of it. Because when you're going backpacking for a weekend or whatever sort of trip you're on, it's always hard to visualize what it's going to be like in real life and inside your pack. So I've got my Osprey Talon 44 here, obviously 44 litres. By no means a massive pack, sort of thing I might use on an overnight or a 2-day trip or something. But I wanted to show you the sort of size it is when it goes inside the pack. So if you come down here and have a look, if I drop that in there, you can see we've actually got stacks of room really, because this pack also expands right up here, and you've got a big space down there for your, say, your sleeping mat and your sleeping bag, and then plenty of space up on top here for your kit and clothes and stuff and anything else you might need. So I think that's a pretty good size. For those of you wondering about the dimensions, they're on the box, they're on the website obviously, but let's just show you in real life what we're dealing with. So as a pack size, we've got in centimeters, what's that, 47 centimeters maybe in real life, probably squashed down 44 perhaps, or which is 17 inches, 17 and a half inches for you Americans. And then diameter, we've got about 160, 150, 160, something like that, which is about 6 inches. So there you go. I think that's pretty neat. Right, well, the instructions are here, but you know, being a bloke and all that, we'll get rid of them. I'm thinking I want to try it out with this mat, because I want to know what this mat's all about. Well, first of all, I'm quite impressed with these little bits of aluminium fixings they've got here. That seems quite nice. So, this, I presume, will be my backup ground sheet, giving us a good idea of the size of the thing. Well, it's nice. They supply a nice little strap with it, with a Velcro fixing. One pole bag, one tent peg bag. I'm a bit weird, but I like to judge the quality of a tent by its pegs. Look at those. Not bad. Nice anodized aluminium red triangular tent pegs. I like that. And then we got our guy ropes. Obviously we've got the poles in here. So there's a big stack of poles. So we'll come to that in a minute. I'll pin the ground sheet down and then we'll set the tent up. It's quite a nice touch actually. The tent bag, this is something I haven't seen before. It probably exists on all the others, but I like the way they've sort of fixed the instructions to the bag, so you can't really get lost anyway. I might have said that a bit too early, but you know, it's very clever of them to do that. They tend to think of a lot of things. And this bag, even that feels really nice quality. The pole or the pole kit feels great, feels really good. Now let's do the pegs and the material. I was just thinking, it is a possibility that that ground sheet can be used as an ultralight kit with just the outer perhaps. I'm not going to do that necessarily today, but I am going to set it up, and I think that is why it's another option. All right, let me get this thing pegged down and we'll go from there. Gives you an idea of the inside space. I'm 6'1", and that's what we're looking at. Right, let's see what happens with these poles. There's very little in the way of instructions for these. Yay, okay. We've got a right spider web to deal with. So let's see how easy this is to set up for somebody who's never done it before and is doing it for the very first time. I mean, I've had a few tents over the years and I've got a rough idea what goes on, but let's see how it is to do something for the very first time with a new tent. I mean, it's pretty obvious where everything goes, where they can go, because the whole thing is strung together. And that's going to be my strengthen up on my middle pole. There. That fits nicely into that. It's always a bit unnerving, this, because there's a lot of bending and power required when you snap things into place. And at this point is where I'm going to have to flex the whole lot. This one's easy, it's the last one is going to be the one. Okay. Actually, it's pretty straightforward. I don't feel like I was overstressing anything or overdoing it anywhere. So as I understand it, this is a set up the inner tent first as opposed to the outer, but this is what I've got to check actually and find out, is whether you can set it up as an outer only, because then you've got your ultralight set up, haven't you? You've just got your ground sheet with an ultralight fly cover over the top, and see if I've done it right. Okay, so possibly these go through two. I mean, this is guesswork. I am just guessing this. This could very well be wrong, but I'm thinking that's what's happened here. Well, that's really easy to do anyway. And the last one. This is the one with the tension on it. And then, pretty obviously, we just go around and clip everything on. Oh, look at that system. I've never seen that before. I was expecting a clip from one side. That is smart. I like that. It's through the middle. Quick twist. Through the middle. Quick twist. That's good. All right, let's keep going with all the rest of them. Twist. Twist. You want to kind of twist it naturally with the way you would twist with your hand, but sometimes they want to go the other direction. More little aluminium pieces. Lovely bits of red anodized aluminium. Some of my favorite bits of material. You know what? I love the way it flexes. I don't feel like I'm putting it under too much tension at all. Maybe a little bit of readjustment here and there. Okay, phase one. Now, for me, I would like that to have been a little bit of a flexi cord there, just a bit of shock cord that I could pull around that. Okay, just a quick sort of note on the quality as we go around it. First of all, the zips look great. I haven't tried them out in anger yet, obviously I've just opened them up. But things like, I keep banging on about this aluminium anodizing, it seems really lovely. The quality feels nice. And these are the points, these are the issues where you might get stress points, and they seem to have reinforced that really, really well. I mean, obviously they've got a strong material here, which is giving it added strength. So if we have a look at, say, all these points here, again, you've got this lovely, I don't know what you call it, it's almost like a nylon type material, and they are reinforced in there. You've got your double stitching. And to me, it doesn't feel like the whole thing is under too much tension, you know? It's in enough tension to hold the shape, but not too much that it feels like something's going to give. There you go, there you got your reinforcement again there. Really nice, quite neat stitching. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. And in here, again, lovely little triangular aluminium block holding it all together. You saw how easy it actually snapped into place and everything went together. I do have a slight bit of concern up here, I suppose, which I'll find out in due course. But we've got a plastic piece there. Now, to me, that looks like something that may give at some point. But quite honestly, even if it did, clever little knot with some paracord or something, and you know, that's fixable or replaceable. Even if it did go when you're out on a camp, you could still do something about that. So yeah, so far, so good. There we go. All right, so just having a quick look at the outside, we're going to have a quick look at any little special features that it might have. Obviously, we've got our guy ropes here. They seem to have a bit of reflective material in them, so I would imagine at night when they've had all the daylight that they glow in the dark. We've got a ventilation system here, a little rigid strap there that holds that open. Obviously, that folds flat. All the little straps are all in a yellow, strong nylon. So they're going to stand out. The material feels good quality. Obviously ultra light, ultra thin. Feels like some sort of siliconized material. I'm not sure exactly what it is without reading the specs, but it feels good, Here we've got obviously our zips. Hard to tell with zips until you use them quite a few times in my experience. But I mean, there was no issues just opening them up. But then we've got usual Velcro in the usual places, the storm sort of covers. The stitching all looks pretty good. I haven't gone up close and examined it all, but it all seems to be pretty decent. We got extra strength where it's required, bit of double thickness here, so you can see that. The pegs are a copy of MSR pegs, I think, but they seem to be a little bit smaller in diameter as well. Our little straps here, again, that seems to have a little bit of reflective material in. I should imagine with your head torch on, out in the pitch dark, you're going to be able to spot these in the distance maybe, as you make your way back to your tent. Another vent here at the front, and 2 more guy ropes that I've now put on. Can't think of anything else right now on the outside, so it's time to go inside, have a look at the sizes, and see how it feels. Just for the record, neither of these products are sponsored by anyone. I bought these for my own personal use, and my opinions are entirely unbiased and my own. Okay, it's time to get inside and do a little review on the inside. Nice little door flaps there to keep your doors out of the way when you're in beautiful weather, or you want to do a bit of cooking in your vestibule there. All right, it's time to have a look on the inside. So the first thing I see is a spacious area to store a bit of kit, which is great on this side here. And then as we go inside, the first thing that strikes me is it feels very, very light. Obviously it's a light coloured tent, but I think in my North Face and in the Vango, there was some material on the inner tent, but this is mesh throughout. Everything is a mesh finish, so great for ventilation. Now, whether that means it might not be its best in cold conditions, I don't really know. I would think not. I've bought this with a particular trip in mind, which is coming up next week. Hence, I'm setting it up today. More on that later. But what else have we got in here? Pockets. We've got a nice big storage pocket at the front and a similar one at the back here, exactly the same. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw a little loft storage area up here as well. Look at that. Now that is great. I'm always looking for that sort of thing for your head torch and a few bits and pieces during the night. And it does completely detach by the looks of it. Excuse the sneeze. So yeah, this does completely detach if for some reason you didn't want to use it. We've got a hook, which is a head torch hook for me. There's no separate ventilation zips, obviously, because they're not needed here. You could close up the outer vents if you really wanted to. I think it's time to have a look at the space. Remember, I'm 6'1", I've got my shoes on, and I'm going to lie down end to end. I've got, I don't know, what is that back there, 4 inches or something, 3 to 4 inches there. I've got room for my feet down there. with a bit of extra, and by the looks of it, plenty of room for another person right here. Let's do the sit-up test. So I sit up like this, and the other person, if I'm with a male or somebody else who wants to sleep this direction, they can also sit up at this side. So you can have two people sitting up, facing each other, and it feels very spacious. Not something you get in an angled tent like that, which is what I always felt was slightly missing. So yeah, this feels very spacious. The mesh inner gives it the impression of feeling a lot more spacious as well, because you actually feel like you're sitting within the confines of the outer rather than inside this inner tent. Yeah, so far so good. Right, to make this kind of realistic, I thought I would bring up an air mattress and try it out inside so you can get a realistic view of what it looks like. So I got this, the OEX Flux 5 mattress. Let's blow this up, get it in the tent and see how it looks, give you a better idea. As you can see, I'm using the inflatable hand pump, I suppose you'd call it, that comes with it. There'll be a name for it. The reason for that is, years ago, people used to blow these sort of things up with straight with their mouth. But A, that's exhausting, and B, you are then trapping your slightly damp breath inside the material, causing condensation and eventually causing the thing to fail in the long term. So they say, just be a few inches back from the mouthpiece, if you like, gently blow into the thing and then inflate it by hand. And believe me, I've blown plenty of things up with my mouth and it actually, you get lightheaded, but this way is really easy. I think that took a little bit longer than the other one I've got, which is a Cedar Summit, but then again, this is R5 rated, a little bit thicker, so obviously there's a greater capacity of air inside it, so it takes a little bit longer. That whole thing took probably 3 minutes maximum, 2 to 3 minutes maybe. It's a double valve, as you can see. If I take out the main valve here, the whole thing will deflate instantly. So you inflate it through the single valve on top, pop that back on with a satisfying click, and you're good to go. There we go. All right, let's get this mattress in, this air mattress, and see how we look. Seems to be plenty of room so far. I hate doing this with my shoes on, but I'm not taking them off today. How are we looking? Well, that is pretty comfortable, I got to say. And it just feels like there's so much room. There really does. It's a roomy two-person tent, I would call this. Look at this level of comfort I've got here. Got all this space. Got some gear stored up here. Got my important gear at the back there. I've got a nice standard ground sheet if I want it, and I've got the extra ground sheet underneath for a bit of extra protection, which in some cases, like where I'm going to need that, I think, because you don't really want to be puncturing this, because then you'll damage in the waterproof level. So yeah, this is how it looks inside with an air mattress, and you can very easily imagine a second one there, maybe a head that end and feet this end, and loads of room. I think I'm going to be very comfy in here. All right, so there's another little feature that people don't often think of, and that is sitting up on the floor is one thing, but a lot of air mattresses these days, this is an R5, 5 centimeter, and I'm sat on that. A lot of mattresses can be very thick these days. So this gives you an idea of the headroom that you've got inside a tent like this when you're sat on a mattress. Still pretty good. There you can keep your shoes, your bag potentially, or your cook kit or whatever you've got. So you've got quite a bit of space there. And now let's see what the access is like for the zips. So if we put that there, just one zip, which is quite nice. And then on the inside, can't get my fat fingers on it. There we go. All right, so access to the zip, look at that. Oh, that's what I call a smooth action. There we go. So you might have just woken up after a nice night, kept somewhere out in the wilds. You could just one-handedly unzip that door. And there you can keep all your storage. Look, there's my 44, Talon 44 in this case, and a pair of shoes. And there's still plenty of room there for other bits and pieces if you want it. And then what's it like to access this zip with one hand? Fantastic, really easy. And there you go, that's the sort of view you can have, straight out of your bed. Not bad. There's another little touch here. You could be laying down in your bed at night, put your phone up there in your gear loft, and go to sleep to the sounds of sights of scuzzy London through the gear loft and a bit of mesh. And you can reach just there and move your phone on if you need to. Brilliant. Yeah, that's a nice little touch. This tent, this Mongar 2, is part of my growing family of tents at the moment. And it's always like that with gear, isn't it? With technical gear and outdoor stuff, you always want something different, or when you're going on a trip, you want something specific. I've got a great big 3-man family tent, which is car camping only. That weighs about 30 kilos or something. I've got hammocks for hammock camping. I've got my Vango Banshee 3 for all other forms of kind of car camping, pretty much. But I never really had anything for mainly hiking, bike packing, backpacking, that sort of thing that I felt comfortable with. And I think this is going to fill that gap. And for me, that's how it fits into my range of camping gear. Coming to price, I bought this directly from Naturehike. The price on their website and what I paid for it was £157. Now the final price included plus taxes, which I can only think were duty taxes. It took a few days to come, so I ordered it in good time. You can buy other versions for Amazon, maybe a little bit less, but I think the bottom line is you're looking at under £200. Under £200. Hey, come here. Don't pee on anything. Come here. Don't pee on anything. Come. Oh, you're so soft. Afternoon. Under £200 you're looking at anyway for this tent, which is $200 to $250, something like that. And that was my review of the Naturehike Mongar 2 ultralight backpacking tent. Next stop, the desert.